Coffee and Headlines is brought to you by the generous support of our viewers and the following community partners: Best Cord Cutting TV, Bravo's Restaurant Bar, El Rey Lounge de Versalles, Joint Boutique Hotel and Cowork, Monson Brewing Company, Puerto Vallarta Neurofeedback, Puerto Vallarta Owners Reps, Oculto, and Siam Cocina Thai. Thank you for your support, and thank you for supporting our community partners. Hello, good morning. It is Wednesday. My goodness, it's Wednesday, May 21st, and this is Coffee and Headlines. What is Coffee and Headlines? Well, most of you already know, but for those of you that don't, this is our morning get together where we trade information about Puerto Vallarta and about Mexico and about our state. I go looking for headlines that might be of interest to other people. Occasionally, we find headlines that have nothing to do with Puerto Vallarta, but we still find them interesting, like the fact that the King of England is visiting Canada to help Canada defend sovereignty. Not that Canada needs it, any help. I think Canada is a wonderful sovereign country that shouldn't fear anybody wanting to take it over, but that's a different story. We're not going to go there. And then we look at your comments, ideas, and suggestions, and we put everything on the table. And we take what's useful, and what's not useful, we simply pass on. And that's what we do. So today, I have a few headlines that I want to share with you. I have some comments that I want to share with you, not criticisms, but oh my God, that was so freaking funny. Thomas, darling, we should have gotten a room. No, this is so funny. I'm getting ahead of myself, but I went to see a show. Then we went before the show. We went and had dinner at Pizza Joe 2.0, and of course, as most scattered people do, I exited the place in reverse. I was saying goodbye to the host that was standing at the door, and I walked backwards and almost bumped into Thomas. Now, it would have been fine, I suppose, just fine if I had just turned around and said, I am sorry, which I did, but it was so much better than fine because Thomas says to me, well, of all the people that I would have wanted to bump into in Puerto Vallarta, it had to be you. So thank you, Thomas. That was a funny moment for me. I so appreciate being recognized when I'm out and about on the street because 99.99 times when that happens, 99.99% times, they are wonderful encounters. So thank you so much for bumping into me. Thank you for letting me bump into you twice. That was a good bump. But that's too much information. Anyhow, so much to share. I'm going to stop looking at your comments. I'm going to wait till the end. And let's start with news that I gathered for today. I received press release this morning about a new community initiative called Safe Zone, which was officially launched yesterday here in Puerto Vallarta. This is a program that was instituted by the Gay Community Center, and its aim is to improve safety and well-being for the LGBTQ plus community and its allies. Safe Zone will focus on prevention through education, real-time incident alerts via a WhatsApp group, and follow up on reported incidents. There is going to be a so-called Q patrol of community volunteers, which will also begin patrolling key areas. And residents, businesses, and visitors are encouraged to participate in this effort for a safer and more inclusive Vallarta. I will share the Vallarta Gay Community Center website for more information on this one. And I'm happy to report that Poncho Davalos from the organization has signed up to attend an interview for the Spotlight. And unfortunately, he signed up for a date that already passed. But Oh, I already told Poncho. Poncho, I'd love to have you on the spotlight so that we can learn more, not only about Safe Zone, but about all the things that the Gay Plus Community Center is now doing to support not only the gay community, but its allies. Moving right along, I promised you yesterday I would tell you more about this gentleman. Meet Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast is a YouTuber who's facing controversy over a video released on May 10th titled I Explore 2,000-Year-Old Ancient Temples, which featured his visits to the Maya archaeological sites here in Mexico, including Chichen Itza and Calakmul. And the backlash he has received centers around his access to restricted areas, use of sacred spaces for promotional content, and commercial use of the site's imagery, including a joke about his Feastables snack brand being Maya approved. Mexican government was not happy with this. And while he claimed to have received full permission from Mexico's National Institute of Anthropology and History and filmed under their supervision, the Institute later filed an administrative lawsuit against his production company for violating terms of the agreement, particularly regarding commercial promotion and inaccurate depictions in his video, which are big no nos as far as the Mexican government is concerned. Uh, President Claudia Sheinbaum called for a report to investigate the matter. The National Anthropology and History Institute clarified that scenes like flying drones inside pyramids or overnight stays at sites were fabricated in post production and that the Maya mask shown was a replica. There was a Maya mask. And this guy apparently said something along the lines of, why is this not in a museum? What was his reaction? Well, he denied any wrongdoing, insisted his team followed all the rules, and stated that Feastables content was filmed off site. He emphasized that he has a lot of respect for Mexican culture and claimed to have contributed to local infrastructure projects and announced a supposed collaboration with Mexico's National Anthropology and History Institute on a fund for archaeology, and the Institute has not confirmed this. He has also denied that he's being sued by the Mexican government, and the Mexican government has confirmed that he is being sued by the Mexican government. So, tómala, I will share a link for his video if you care to watch it. I haven't watched it because the simple notion of watching it means that I'm increasing his number of clicks. So, whatever. I just think it's not nice when you go somewhere else and depict things inaccurately. And I'm glad that the Mexican government is taking action on this. Now, this morning, I was browsing through Facebook and look at what I found. You are looking at wonderful volunteers from the Quales Spay neuter clinics, hard at work, sterilizing cats at a mini clinic in the Quale Isla. What I like about this is you can see Monesh in the background, the owner of Rico Indian. You can see part of the structure that he showed us the other day. So these summer clinics, according to the post that I found, are so important to help control the homeless cat population on the island and surrounding neighborhoods. Two of the traps used by the Quales Spay neuter clinics were used in the Conchas Chinas project. Two more were used in Las Peñas, two carriers in El Remance, and a total of 53 animals were sterilized. So how can we make this happen? How can we help the Quales Spay and Neuter Clinic? All we have to do, if we can afford it, is to donate $20 per surgery, and donations can be made at a website that I am going to share with you in the show notes. And a shout out to Angela, my friend Angela, for doing all this work, and a shout in, the opposite of a shout out. Angela, you told me you would bring me to one of these clinics to film so that people can see exactly what takes place when these cats are neutered. I would love to do this anytime because I'm sure viewers would be curious to see the inside of a neutering operation. If I am correct in that assumption, just write the word cat by itself in the show notes, and maybe this will um, remind Angela that we are curious about her pursuits and that we would love to learn more so we feel more of a sense of belonging for supporting them. But first, let's take a look at the weather. First, let's take a look at the weather because I don't think we're going to hear from Angela right at this moment or instantaneously. Snarky Weather says our long national nightmare is over. Fortnite is back on the App Store. I know Fortnite is some kind of a game. I have no idea what this is about, but I can tell you it is 29 degrees out there, not 30, 29. As long as we're under the 30s, I feel like it's not totally crazy. 29 degrees, 63% humidity. And our forecast for today says clear skies in the morning with mostly cloudy skies in the afternoon, a high of 31 and a low of 20. Tomorrow, Thursday, humid with clear skies, a high of 31 and a low of 21. And then on Friday will be a humid day with clear skies. We will enjoy a maximum temperature of 31 and a low temperature of 21. 10 degrees of difference on a single day. Not bad, not good. It is what it is. As I was perusing Facebook this morning to find content for today, I was quite taken by a painting that I found displayed in the face on the Facebook page of Galeria Contempo. This is an encaustic on wood by Gabriela Epstein, and the message spoke to me. All you need is less. I think that speaks volumes. And of course, I am sure that this is on display at Galeria Contempo. And if you know Galeria Contempo, you know where it is located. It is located at the corner of Basilio Vadillo and and Ignacio Vallarta, which is also the corner where the male masseurs that don't look like male masseurs stand to promote their wares or lack of wares or to make themselves available. Now, okay, full disclaimer, this is just an observation. It is not a criticism. It is not a criticism because, hey, I love looking at eye candy as much as anybody else. But I must say that in the process of walking around Emiliano Zapata yesterday to get to Pizza Joe 2.0 to have dinner with my friends, I don't know if it's gay pride or lack of employment or lack of ideas on how to make a living in town, but it seems that all of a sudden there is at least one massage parlor per block or more. I mean, I think there's a shitload of eateries in Emiliano Zapata, and what seems to be the case now is there are more massage parlors and than eateries in Emiliano Zapata, which sounds really crazy. This particular massage parlor, I think, is right behind the gallery, and and again, it don't bother me, but I am sure that if it was a bunch of ladies with their tatas prominently displayed, um, someone would have a problem with that. And I'm sure someone is having a problem with all the male masseurs that are hanging out on the street looking more like not male masseurs than looking like male masseurs. Again, it is not a criticism, it's an observation. And it's also a reminder that the fact that sometimes the gay community itself can be so adept at shooting itself on the foot just by being excessful, full of excess. And I think we see a lot of that during gay pride. And then the government will receive enough complaints that the government will shut it down. And enough said. All I can say is that if you find um, this painting interesting, well, don't use the male strippers. I mean, the male masseurs um, as a landmark. You know, a better, more healthy, more nurturing, more wholesome landmark would be to say that Galeria Contempo is across the street from Galeria Dante and vice versa. But that's just me. But back to Galeria Dante, as you know, Galeria Dante started at a pizza place over 20 something years ago, if not more. And this is me with my posse. We got together and had great pizza at Pizza Joe 2.0. It's of course above Galeria Dante, and I know some of you are rolling your eyes and thinking, "Oh my God!" But it's so hot out there. Well, here's the trick: we got there at 5:30, and by 5:30, the sun was in a position in which we were able to dine al fresco and enjoy the breeze without having the sun directly on ourselves. Number one. Number two, the pizza at Pizza Joe's, it's a personal pizza, but it is perfect because it is very, very thin crust. So you can order your own personal pizza and eat it complete if you have a big appetite, and share it with other friends if you don't. And it is a perfect location to grab a nice bite. Oh, and one other thing that is surprising, and I love the fact that my friends Claudia and Lucas mentioned it even before I did, is that even though you're right next to Basilio Vadillo, well, you're right on the street, it's very quiet up there. Like somehow the sound doesn't travel. So it is not as chaotic to dine up there as it may seem to be walking around the neighborhood when there's just a ton of people walking up and down the streets. It was very lovely. It was wonderful. And then, of course, we headed over to Nacho Daddy, where we saw the wonderful Amy Armstrong and the wonderful Sargento Dan collaborate in a concert. Now, the bad news for you is that this was a one time concert and it will not be repeated anytime soon. It may never be repeated again. There's so much to unpack about this. First of all, from the gay pride point of view, for me, for yours truly, it really felt more like a gay pride concert slash celebration for locals than all the stuff that gets organized for tourists. It reminded me of, and called me old and called me old fashioned. I don't care. It reminded me of when I was in my 20s and I would go to little concerts with little people like the amazing Leah Delaria, for example, that celebrated pride and happiness and reminded us of why we celebrate pride in the first place. So that is the gay cultural side of last night. The musical side of last night is, you know, they came out for the first song wearing minion hats and minion paper masks, and you knew from the very first song that there was amazing musical and histrionic chemistry going on between these two. I mean, they were like aunt and nephew, older sister, younger brother. The bickering was funny, it was not hurtful. It was, and then the music, the way they harmonized was just stunning. So it was clear for everyone that was there, and most of my closest friends were there. I felt very comforted by that too. It didn't take long for everybody to realize that this combination, these two amazing artists sharing the stage for a performance was a great idea. You could see the amazement in their own eyes as to how much they were enjoying themselves. And I did capture a little bit of video from the performances, which I will share with you in the near future, not today, because I want it to last. But how wonderful to see local artists reinvent themselves and and just do great stuff on stage. It was really, really, really amazing. Moving right along, survey says yes, we're still gathering answers for our new weekly survey. And I'm going to continue mentioning this until it becomes a habit. The intention here is that every Monday we will deploy a new survey and we will push it um, um, on social media through the week. And this is survey just to find out. But for me, it's helpful to find out where you're at, whether and how I can tailor the content that we provide here, Coffee and Headlines for you. It's also interesting to see what you're thinking about stuff. So if you have any ideas for future surveys or you haven't completed this one, the link is going to be in the show notes as usual. And speaking of surveys, the last thing that I want to share with you before we go into our chit chat mode is the fact that our dear friends from the International Friendship Club are also taking advantage of surveys. Surveys are so freaking powerful to find out where people are at. And I'm so happy to see that the Friendship Club has unveiled a survey to help them tailor their services and their offerings as they move forward through this amazing transformation that they're going through. So I'm going to share this in the show notes as well and encourage everybody to participate. At the end of the day, all we're doing here is help organizations, or in my case, yours truly, to provide you with more of what is important to you. And this may or may not be important, but I'm going to share it anyway because I can. His music whispers of longing, of memories never made and loves never lived. Maurice Ravel, unmarried, childless, yet somehow he composed with the soul of a man who'd lost everything. Join me, Paco Ojeda, for a personal journey through my favorite works by this exquisite French master. From the shimmering textures of Introduction et Allegro to the haunting elegance of Pavane for a Dead Princess, the vibrant energy of La Valse, and beyond. Discover the stories, subtleties, and secret sorrows behind the music in a comfortable, relaxing, and climate-controlled setting at the Joint Boutique Hotel and Co-work this Thursday, May 22nd at 5 p.m. Tickets are just 300 pesos and available now at the reception desk. Whether you know Ravel well or barely at all, this is your chance to connect more deeply with his music and fall in love. And I can't wait for Ravel, and that happens tomorrow. And even before anything else happens, I want to acknowledge my wonderful friend, Amy Armstrong. Amy is in the house, and I want to repeat to you, Amy, what I said to you during intermission yesterday for everyone to hear, although I'm going to address everybody else instead of you, Amy. What I said to Amy, I usually if an artist is in during intermission, I don't like to go back into the dressing room and bother anyone. But yesterday I couldn't help myself. I couldn't stop myself from going back to the dressing room. And what I said to Amy and Sargento is that they are going to receive a lot of praise for what they were doing. But unfortunately, even when you're watching a video, you can, neither Amy nor Sargento will ever be able to watch themselves. I mean, if you, Amy, and Sargento had been able to see the look of amazement in your faces, this look, and I know that because I've been on stage for one reason or another. I've been in front of a crowd for one reason or another, presenting something. And it's that feeling that you get when you go, oh my God, it's working. And it's working well. I saw that look on Amy and Sargento's face many times last night. Two artists that took a chance on one another, had a hunch that it might work, confirmed this, and of course they had a great production team working and helping them. Um, it was just great. And hats off to you, Nacho Daddy, because while other venues continue to push the notion of big shows for big budgets and big tourists, big, beautiful tourists, Nacho Daddy continues to somehow shape the programming for English speaking locals. I increasingly feel more at home at Nacho Daddy. Am I happy about the prices? No. Uh, but I'm happy to see that Nacho Daddy is maintaining the quality of the shows. I really am. And prices, well, prices go up wherever you go. And the price of last night's concert and performance at Nacho Daddy was definitely worth the 700 pesos because it was so beautifully done. It was professionally done. The sound was impeccable. Oh my God, Mimi on the guitar was absolutely flawless. So I'm gonna stop gushing about that. But all I can say is if Amy Armstrong and Sargento Dan choose to perform again, don't miss it. Don't miss it because whatever they come up with, I know it's going to be fantastic. And that's enough about that. Well, never enough. But let's move on to other things. Lots of hellos this morning. Lots of hellos. Pam pam. This just you filled my cup, Thomas. You totally did. Hello, Betsy. Betsy was at our table last night. We had so much fun laughing together. And Pamela was there as well with husband. And of course, Stan and with husband. And just so many wonderful people that I ran into last night. Wasn't that a fabulous show, says Betsy. Of course it was. It was absolutely wonderful. Logan, who was there as well, reports lots of smoke in the air during the morning dog walk, and I don't think it's from all the people that were out on the upstairs balcony last night at Nacho Daddy. Shh, we were misbehaving. Shout out to Amy Armstrong and Sargento Dan for providing a fun and safe space to kick off Puerto Vallarta Pride this year. Yes, that's what that was. And yeah, Mr. Beast Tomala. Totally. Amy, I love you back. It is such a pleasure to support everything you do because everything you do nurtures me so. You know where to find me. Let's play again soon. Hopefully before you leave, but I know that you're going to the United States for a while. Please let me know now or at some point in the future when you're coming back. When can we look forward to seeing you again? Betsy says cat, and Toma Mundo says gato. So, yes, I do want to go and tape some of the Koala Spay Neuter Clinic operation things. So I will knock on Angela's door once again. I think, says Question Queen Laura, I think controlling the population of cats with a spay neuter clinic is a very good thing. It's so sad to see them abandoned. Hats off to them. I totally agree because, not all cats on the Quale Island end up there because they were born there. Monish from the restaurant from Rico Indian was telling us of a mama cat that was dropped off at the island with her newborn kittens. And people do this. They just drop off animals, and that is just sad. The work is never ending. So I'm glad there are organizations like Koala Spay Neuter Clinic and other animal organizations out there doing this wonderful work. Yes, Linda says Angela and her team of volunteers are doing a great service sterilizing animals for those that can't afford to. Yes. Mary Romaine says cats. Whenever we visit PV, we go to La Isla to feed the cats. Well, let me remind everyone of this wonderful feeding frenzy that goes on whenever Rico Indian every night takes out food to feed the cats. We filmed it just last week when we were there for dinner, and it was just so heartwarming, and also heartwarming to see that Rico Indian, along with other businesses and volunteers, are creating that amazing, uh, ginormous outdoor cat gym for the animals to have fun. Um, Sherry is saying, please define massage parlors. And there's a couple of smiles there. So that's precisely the point. You know, um, it will continue to increase, whether it's massage or massage, until it's too much. And then it's going to be curtailed. And, end of story. And then that story repeats itself ad nauseum, of course. Let's see. Barbara attended a spay neuter clinic and the cats received wonderful attention. Well, I want to attend so that I can support by showing it and showing people how important it is. I promise I won't misbehave as a YouTuber. Um, Amy chimes in. Pizza Joe is awesome. Tried the Greek salad and the lasagna. It's wonderful food. Um, Pamela says, I think the masseurs are taking the all you need is less as a fashion statement. We did see a boy last night walking with his friends, donned in only a very small thong. You know, damn it. I am all for gay freedom of expression, but you gotta balance that shit, friends. I mean, Mexico is still a conservative town, and there are people that are conservative, and it's just a matter of showing some respect and not doing things here that you wouldn't do back home. I mean, just because people are out on vacation, um, it's okay to be walking around in a very small thong, particularly. No, I'm just going to leave it at that. Never mind. Let's see what else. Totally fun to dine outside because it's a beautiful location. The service is amazing. The one thing that I regret about last night is that we were offered surprise dessert, complimentary dessert, and unfortunately we were not able to stay for it because we had to run to a show. So Pizza Joe, please forgive us for having refused what would have been a lovely dessert had we had a little bit of extra time. Joanne loves Galleria Dante. That makes two of us and many others. Um, oh, congratulations to Chris. Booked our return flight yesterday. That's fantastic. And yes, Pamela says Pride Parade is at 4 p.m. tomorrow. So we will try to get to joint co-working after. That would be to watch my Ravel presentation. That would be lovely. I describe Amy and Sargento's show as I left like partying with super talented friends, right? They were amazing. John chimes in. Amy and Sargento are outstanding. If the entertainment is spot on and food is a little high, it balances. If you get a lot of feel good things from a night out, it's wonderful. Totally agreed. Totally agreed. And it's nice to be agreed on. I'm not sure what you're agreeing to specifically, Angela, but I mean, Angelica, but thank you for agreeing with me. I love it. And this brings us to the end of today's broadcast. Thank you very much for sticking around, for being part of this wonderful community that you nurture every single day, for empowering me to do what I do with and for you by being a supporter. And this is it. This afternoon, I will be taping spotlight interviews at the Joint Boutique Hotel and Co-work. Feel free to stop by and say hello. And then I'll see you tomorrow morning as usual.